This debate featuring Jordan Peterson and a panel of atheists, hosted by Jubilee, is a dense and at times circular clash of epistemologies, definitions, and existential commitments. At its core, it centers on not just whether God exists, but what counts as God, religion, morality, and worship in the first place. Peterson is not interested in engaging atheism on its own terms. Rather, he seeks to destabilize those terms and reframe the debate entirely. 1. On what atheists reject, a semantic battlefield. Peterson's first major claim is a provocative ontological move. Atheists reject a conception of God they do not truly understand. He accuses them of engaging with a caricature, a straw man of the divine, typically the omnipotent Sky Father. Rather than the deeper metaphysical principle, he argues religious traditions, especially Judeo-Christian ones, actually gesture toward a transcendent source of meaning, value, and moral orientation. This is reinforced through his allusion to Moses only seeing God's back, implying the inaccessibility of divine essence. But this move is philosophically loaded and strategically slippery. Peterson oscillates between symbolic, archetypal definitions of God, as conscience, as telos, as the ultimate value, and existential claims about the necessity of such a structure. The atheists, particularly Greg and David, push back on this by asking, if God simply means your highest value, then the term becomes too vague or metaphorical to do any work. Moreover, if atheists explicitly reject the interventionist, personal deity central to most historical faiths, it's unclear how Peterson can claim they've misunderstood anything at all. They've rejected what most religious people actually believe. This creates a tension Peterson never fully resolves. He critiques literalism in religion, yet refuses to let go of religious language. To claim God is your conscience is not the same as defending a traditional theistic worldview. Instead, it risks committing an equivocation fallacy, redefining God so broadly it includes things atheists themselves affirm, but then insisting they are still wrong to call themselves atheists. 2. Morality, meaning, and the limits of science. Peterson's second major contention, that morality and purpose are inaccessible through science alone, aligns with a long philosophical tradition, from Hume to MacIntyre, that critiques scientism, the belief that empirical methods can explain or justify all domains of human experience. Here, he makes a stronger case. He argues that scientific inquiry presupposes a value-laden framework, e.g., why study this phenomenon and not that one, and that the motivational and teleological dimensions of life, what one should do, not just what is, are outside science's purview. While atheist panelists like Brian try to salvage a scientific morality through evolutionary psychology or behavioral studies of fairness in primates, Peterson counters that such findings may explain moral behavior but cannot justify it normatively. However, his conclusion that religion is therefore the necessary foundation of morality is far more contentious. It relies on a collapsed dichotomy, if not science, then religion. But this ignores secular philosophical traditions, Kantian, existentialist, pragmatic, that offer robust moral frameworks independent of supernatural commitments. Peterson acknowledges this only obliquely by redefining such frameworks as religious in effect, which again blurs distinctions rather than clarifies them. 3. Everyone worships, the universality of devotion. Peterson's third claim, that everyone worships something, is both provocative and deeply embedded in his Jungian reading of psychology and culture. He equates worship with the act of prioritization, attention, and sacrifice, claiming that whatever occupies the top of one's value hierarchy functions as a god. This idea is rhetorically compelling. It echoes David Foster Wallace's famous line, "Everyone worships. The only choice we get is what to worship." But again, its analytic precision is lacking. If worship simply means valuing something highly, then the concept risks losing its normative weight. We are left with a scale of deep values, not a coherent doctrine of worship. Girard's interrogation of this idea, is loving one's wife a form of worship, illustrates the problem. If everything is worship, then nothing distinctively is. Peterson, the real aim here is not empirical, but existential. He wants to show that human beings cannot not orient themselves towards something ultimate. And if that something is insufficiently worthy, e.g., money, power, then it leads to personal and